Welcome back to my channel. This is Tita Lavinia of Tita's Pageantry, and for this episode, we will get to talk about Miss Intercontinental 2021 and our newly minted queen, Cinderella Faye Obeñita. So please make sure you stick around. Please subscribe to the channel as well as hit that bell notification button for your weekly pageant fix. Now let's go ahead and talk about Miss Intercontinental because it's been super happy for us, Filipino pageant fans most of all, for Cindy Obeñita bagging our second Miss Intercontinental crown. Now, as we all know, Miss Intercontinental is pretty elusive. It took us years to really, get what they want. It took us years to even win our first title. Guys, Miss Intercontinental is also one of the oldest beauty pageants out there. They have been in existence since the 1970s, and in fact, this year is their 49th edition. So, yeah. The 49th edition of Miss Intercontinental was held at the Sunrise Diamond Resort at Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt. Now, this was participated by more than 70 contestants from all across the continents. Now, Miss Intercontinental has been kind to us ever since Binibining Pilipinas acquired the franchise in 2014. In fact, before winning in 2018 for our first title with Karen Gallman, we had almost winners with Chris Hanson in 2014, who got second runner-up. I think a lot of people are still sore about that. A lot of us still haven't moved on from the fact that she aced everything and, she had to settle for second runner-up. I mean, we know the story. And of course, we also had our almost win in 2015 with Christy McGarry and 2017 with Catarina Rodriguez. So this time around, it was really surprising because when we talk about Miss Intercontinental, we talk about something pretty vague. We don't actually know what they're looking for. And it was only within the past few years that we locked in on certain attributes that would probably work well at Miss Intercontinental, but I would be talking more about that later on. I just want to get this one out of the way. Now, as much as I want to review Miss Intercontinental in its entirety, the thing was that this pageant took place at 3 in the morning. The pageant coincided also with Maureen's bikini competition at Miss Globe, which was happening in Albania at that time. So it was only a 2-hour difference. So it was a pretty tiring night for a lot of those pageant fans who were up, because it was really disappointing because as much as I want to review this, in detail for you, the mere fact that they haven't uploaded the full footage is just a little limiting, because as a vlogger, as someone who analyzes pageants, of course I would love to give you, HD visuals. Of course I would love to give you footages. And unfortunately, because the pageant or the finals was plagued by a number of technical issues, we have to just make do with, grainy video footages. And there were some HD photos, yes, but I think they're still in the process of collating everything and then uploading them. And unfortunately, by the time they do that, we're all done with all of our analysis and all of our explanations on what actually happened. So I'm gonna take the risk and do this review now. I know that they will be uploading the full show today as well. They announced this on their official website. They also admitted to having technical difficulties. So moving on, I just want to say that because of the technical difficulties and because a lot of us didn't get to watch the actual show, even if we prepared for it, I felt that a lot of the entertainment as well as production value was just left out. I mean, it's a little frustrating, disappointing, but of course understandable as well that they were able to, get all of these ladies together at one venue anyway. I mean, they could just have thought of maybe a contingency plan on how things would run a lot smoother if they had other, plans on streaming or maybe, utilizing technologies. There could have been a contingency plan in terms of, beaming everything or streaming everything real time, because we were very reliant on the audience. And thanks to them, we have footages of our very own queen and her crowning moment. And it's a little sad that that stamped in history will be, just for really grainy footages. what I was able to watch before they cut the live streaming, because after a while they had to cut everything and we were like left in the dark. What happens now? So I think a lot of us went back to sleep and then woke up at around 5 or 6 in the morning, and voila, we have a new queen. But based on what I was able to watch, first of all, there was a parade of national costume, and very early on you could really see how Cindy was just dominating, because they placed her in the middle, and you could just really see her. Her costume wasn't larger than life. I mean, there were elements that were large in scale, but it didn't seem as heavy as, maybe Catriona's costume or maybe Rabia's costume, but you could really see her in the middle. I mean, she was tall and she had that round thing. So that was one of the first things that I noticed during Cindy's stint at Miss Intercontinental. Now, very early on, they gave out special awards, and the one who won for Best in National Costume was from Dominican Republic. Her name is Amy Rodriguez Hernandez. I'm not so sure about the production. I'm not so sure about the entertainment that they provided, because by this time they cut the live stream. But what I do know is that they chose the top 20, and the ones who made it were this is in alphabetical order, by the way. So the ones who made top 20 were Canada, Colombia, Crimea, Cuba, Czech Republic, Germany, Guatemala, Indonesia, Italy, Malaysia, Mauritius, Mexico, Netherlands, Paraguay, Peru, the Philippines, of course, Seychelles, South Africa, Thailand, and the UK. Now, if I'm not mistaken, these were also the same ladies who paraded in their evening gown. That's why we have a footage of Cindy in that beautiful silvery gown made by Odilon Sinpao. So I thought that was a really missed opportunity for us, because she could have been really glittering in HD. So for Q&A, now by this time, the ladies changed into their cocktail wear. So the Continental Queens also happened to be the same set of ladies who went on as part of Cindy's court. Now, it's very interesting because for Q&A, I think this was also a little bit of an oversight for the organization. I don't know what they were trying to convey by, pulling questions from Miss Universe, because I felt that that gave Cindy an advantage. Why is this? Because, when you have Q&A questions from previous competitions, such as Miss Universe, this is part of the Philippine curriculum. This is part of the Philippine training program, and that's pretty basic. So if you ask Cindy something like that, I'm pretty sure this is the same question that Cindy has answered many, many times, and a lot of Filipino pageant girls have answered many, many times. So the way I see it, the line of questioning that were asked at Miss Intercontinental, I feel like it didn't have weight. I feel like this is something that, Filipinos could ace, because, again, this is something natural to us. This is something that we practice all the time, and I don't know whose fault was that, because it doesn't seem advantageous to the competitors, who I know are, making themselves more vocal when in terms of criticizing the organization for giving very easy questions that the Philippines can answer. So I'm just saying, maybe it's also fair game, because if this is advanced level for us and for them and entry level for us, then that's not Cindy's fault, is it? So yeah, I'm going to flash Cindy's Q&A, because although this is something that was already asked for Janine Tugonon at Miss Universe, Cindy spun it around. I mean, she had her own take.
My question will be, as an international ambassador, do you believe that speaking English is important for Miss Intercontinental? Why or why not?
As an ambassador, I don't think that speaking a specific language is very important here in Miss Intercontinental or any pageant at all, as long as that woman is a woman of power and grace, commitment and intelligence, no matter what language she speaks. And that woman is actually a woman of style and substance, then she can win any pageant or any endeavor that she is into. Also, it's very important. I have learned here actually in Miss Intercontinental that a woman should be or should possess power of substance, and I believe I am that woman. That we are living in a world wherein it's very hard to survive, and as Miss Intercontinental, I would like to be that source of hope, that source of inspiration on the true power of beauty, and that is felt on the kindness of our hearts and definitely on the sincerity of our loving actions. Shukran, Charmel.
But if you notice, they did not have a swimsuit segment. Now, I don't know why they chose not to have a swimsuit segment, but they did ask the ladies from top 6 to change into their cocktail wear. And by the time Q&A was done, and even the other ladies were asked Miss Universe type of questions that were just so freakishly familiar, I don't know what they were thinking. In the end, they announced Maria Paula Castillo Lopez of Colombia as 5th runner-up, Caitlin Lee of Canada as 4th runner-up, Kelly Mary Annette of Seychelles as 3rd runner-up, Roni Simpkins of the UK as 2nd runner-up, Paulina Oceda Escoria of Mexico, who of course was 1st runner-up, and Cindy Obeñita as Miss Intercontinental 2021. Now, congratulations, first of all. This is a Cinderella story. I mean, it's a fairy tale. Imagine going into a competition for the nationals, you get in as a wild card, you chase your dream, you win a crown, you go into the international pageant with, not a lot of baggage, with just, fun and really light feelings, and then voila, you win a crown. And, this was well-deserved for Cindy. I know that a lot of people, especially those that we have been very, hostile with, at least on social media. I know that a lot of them are like thinking that it's, part of a cooking show, that, I don't know. I mean, this is common anyway. Even with Maureen's performance at the bikini competition, we had the same things to say about the actual winner. So I'm just saying that this is pretty common, but the way I see it, because of Q&A, I think everybody was just really blown away. So let me just address a few things as well, because I know a lot of you are confused why Cindy won the crown wearing a cocktail dress. And there was a statement that was released by one of the members of Cindy's team explaining why she wasn't in a gown, because apparently when they walked the ramp for top 20, she was in that silver gown, and then those who were called in top 6 were asked to change into their cocktail dresses, but they weren't given any instructions to change back to their gowns. So some of the ladies changed into their gowns without any instructions from the management, but I guess it didn't reach Cindy because Cindy stayed wearing her cocktail dress instead. So yeah, the way I see it, it's kind of disorganized, because if they weren't able to coordinate, they were battling lots of technical issues and they couldn't get the sound right. They couldn't also give the instructions clearly to the girls. I thought that was just a little sloppy, but nevertheless, we have the crown. We are, of course, super happy for Cindy. To also just give you some notes on why Cindy won this competition, and I'm gonna give point number 1 for discipline. For me, Cindy addressed her problem areas head on. She won Binibining Pilipinas, and she was aware of the things that were said about her. First of all, her skin improved. I think this was one of her first pet projects, to partner with an aesthetic clinic and really work on this, work on her skin, because this is something that a lot of us noticed during Binibini. Definitely, there were changes in her physicality. She definitely slimmed down, and I'm just gonna put it out there that when I say a candidate slims down, this has nothing to do now with body type. I think that height and body type is not something that people discuss nowadays, because even if we don't want to admit it, we are going into this direction wherein height and body type doesn't really matter anymore. But as a compromise, I think the pageant fans are still expecting these girls to at least hit the gym and be toned. So it doesn't matter whether you're big boned or petite, pageant fans will really expect you to be toned, to be fit. And I think that this was what Cindy did, because by the time she competed at Miss Intercontinental, you could see that, she was long and lean, and, you could really see that she really focused on that aspect of the competition. And I like that she seemed to have the discipline of Binibining Pilipinas, because everything that she did was calculated. Everything that she did in terms of her preparations was planned accordingly. So there wasn't anything sloppy. There wasn't anything that was haphazard about her preparation. I like how they were able to take notes of the things that a lot of people were saying about Cindy, and just planning and making sure that Cindy is happy as well as the pageant fans are happy, because even her wardrobe improved. I felt that at Binibining Pilipinas, her gown wasn't a standout. It seemed to me as if it was a gown that was just given to Cindy, and because, her name is Cinderella, might as well wear ice blue. But this time around, I felt that they sat down, they conceptualized, and they really created a beautiful, beautiful gown for her, which unfortunately we didn't really get to see. But we do have some photos of her wearing the gown, and she really looked like Cinderella, so that was really very fitting. Point number 2, why she won. I feel like I say this word a lot, but I'm gonna go with this word to really describe Cindy's journey at Miss Intercontinental: effervescent. And I say this because from the time Cindy was given a send-off to her arrival at Egypt, I felt that there was no baggage. She wasn't gunning for a back-to-back. There was no pressure for her to snag a crown. I mean, if she does, that's great. If she doesn't, job well done. But I felt that her, the way she attacked the competition was just pretty easy breezy. I mean, you could really see that she was so happy with all of the things that were presented to her, whether it's a restaurant trip or maybe, a trip to the poolside, or she just seemed really grateful to be in that place. And let me just tell you a little bit of a chi-chi, because there were stronger Asians in the roster who a lot of us thought would bag the crown. But I think some of the organizers heard some rumors that a lot of these girls have started to complain. It's just that Cindy has remained steady from day one. She had a smile on her face. She didn't seem to complain with appearances as well as events, because again, I guess Cindy understood that this is a once-in-a-lifetime event, and getting into Miss Intercontinental wasn't even easy as, a wild card pick. So for her to advance and for her to be surrounded by all that history, by all that, Egypt magic, and it really showed. So, number 3 point, I feel like styling really did a good job with Cindy, because even from the pre-pageant activities, we would revel at how clean she looked, at how neat, how well presented. I particularly love this blue dress that she wore. It was a dress with a low back that was embellished. So, she would show us a little bit of that fashion side, and everything culminated by the finals because they straightened her hair. And a lot of people felt that, she has such a round face that she needed that, and I like that they listened. They did not do that, big Victoria's Secret hair waves, and they put her in a column dress with a sweetheart neckline that was heavily embellished, but not heavy-handed. So for me, she looked like a goddess. Everything was aligned for her. Even her shoes, I didn't have to complain that she was wearing tippy tops. So yeah, everything was just styled perfectly for Cindy. Number 4 point, I feel like if Cindy charged this competition, it definitely is Q&A. Now, I'm going to throw in Q&A here because I feel like Miss Intercontinental hasn't been very heavy on Q&A. So we've always thought that with Miss Intercontinental, it has to be a beauty that doesn't need to be explained. But this time around, I think, yeah, they're going into a different direction because they zeroed in on Cindy. And if I may, I don't think anybody will be in contention on how good Cindy perform the Q&A. First of all, there are two aspects to her success in terms of Q&A. The training program, like what I mentioned earlier, this is nothing for her. This is something that, she has already practiced, that she could bend her answers and customize her answers, because this is something that she has already talked about, trained for. She had drills with these types of questions. And number two, delivery, because even if this is something that's already familiar to Cindy and the Philippine setting when it comes to Q&A, this also has something to do with, personal touches. If you're not conversant, it doesn't matter whether you've encountered this question over and over. If you're not conversant and if you're not well-versed, this wouldn't matter. And I think that when Cindy was there, when she answered the question, she was calm, she had a point, and she wanted this point to come across. So yeah, confidence. And I guess another reason why Cindy won is because of luck. And I say this because she was really lucky when she got into that wild card spot at Binibining Pilipinas. And luckier still that, she was given recognition here at Miss Intercontinental. Yes, she has the sash factor. But when you have the sash factor and when most of your girls get into the semifinals, then expectations thin out a bit as year passed by. So this year, we expected her to do well, but luck was on her side. The pageant gods wanted to give her that crown. And another thing I think that played into the success of Cindy is, of course, the support of the organization, the support of her camp, and the support of her team. All of these three groups really did their best to collaborate and cooperate to make sure that Cindy is well taken care of. Binibining Pilipinas has been very vocal with their support with Cindy. Their social media manager has been working overtime to make sure that Cindy gets the proper exposure. Her Aces and Queens camp, I felt, also worked hard for her, especially when I see a lot of these videos from her passerella trainer, Ian, and of course her own team, who has been giving us updates, who really tweaked everything that needs to be elevated from her Binibining Pilipinas stint. So there you go, guys. This is a happy time for Filipino pageant fans. Just when we think that everything is declining for us, here we are again, rising to the top.